Hello and welcome back to the ACB sessions. This is episode 11. That's right, we're on our 11th episode of the year, which is kind of mad because we've only got one more to do after this, and we'll decide what we do after then. But I think it's a huge achievement for us to have sat down all of these months, and to be honest with you, it's just flown by. I don't know about you, but for me at least it has.
Yeah, in a way yes, in a way no. I think looking back on anything, you can go blimey, like where's the time gone? Because there'll be times, like even when we look back at maybe school, for example, it's like I haven't been to school in 15 years nearly.
An absolute lifetime
which
ago,
is weird, you know.
But in other ways it feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
like
it's strange.
I graduated high school in 2016, and
oh wait, you stayed, just for everybody that doesn't know, we grew up in different places. So I finished school, or secondary school for me, or what if you want to call it the high school equivalent, when I was 16, and you finished when you were like 18, 19.
I was 18.
Yeah, there you go. So because for my school year, that was the last year that it was the first year where it wasn't
mandatory,
we were the last year where it wasn't mandatory to carry on education till you were 18.
Yeah.
So and then it kicked in where you at least had to go to like college or do A levels or something.
But college and all that is mandatory.
No, as long as you're in education until you're 18, they say here. Now, after my graduation year, which was like 2013, yeah.
Okay.
And then I did do college but I could have gone straight to work.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it's like you still don't have any experience.
You'd have to do an apprenticeship. And
pretty much. But anyway, sorry, that was just to clarify that we grew up in different places and that your standards were like already set at
much higher than yours.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a German efficiency, yeah.
Well, you say that, but actually I went to an international school, which is more like an American system.
Mm-hmm.
So we had elementary school, which is the equivalent of primary.
Yeah.
Then we had middle school, which is secondary, and then high school, which is, what's that? What do you guys call that?
Secondary school. But because if we're talking school system, the American system is broken into 3, but ours is broken into 2.
Oh, I
see. Ours is primary school, which is ages, say, like 5 to 11.
11,
or 12, right? And then secondary school is kind of like 12 to 16, and then you go and do college, which is just like until you're 18 usually. And the American system will be elementary school, say 4 or 5 until you're maybe 10, 11, something like that, is it?
Something like that, yeah.
And then middle school is a couple of years, say 11
to like 16.
No, not even. I think it's like 11 to 14, isn't it? At least from my friends that I've heard. It doesn't matter. And then the high school is maybe whatever, 16 to 14 to 18 or something like that. It just breaks it up into 3. And then sorry, go on.
So what it was, no, I'm just remembering now. So elementary is grades 1 to 4, and then middle school is 5 to 8. And then high school is 9 to 12.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's grade, like year groups, not actual ages.
Gotcha. So we have, and then also for American systems to go to college is what we would call university.
Yeah.
Because we're not staying in like a school education until we're 18.
Yeah. I think I do remember though that in my school, if you were done with middle school, you didn't necessarily have to continue with high school, I don't think.
Oh, right.
Because you would you could have gone on to do like apprenticeships or
Yeah.
things like that, similar to here.
Sure.
But most kids continued on to in high school, and then you could go straight to university after that. So you do all your GCSEs, or we had IGCSEs.
I did one of those as well, actually.
Did you? Yeah. And then we had the chance to do an IB diploma, International Baccalaureate, which is like a Swiss company thing, which is quite a high education level, and I wasn't capable of doing that. So I did like a modified version of the International Baccalaureate to sort of help me get into ICMP. I was really fortunate because my music teacher, she was called Miss Panagakis. She was half Greek, half Australian. Great personality. And she developed a course for me in high school to be able to pass the ICMP sort of entry requirements.
Oh, sweet.
Which was really, really lovely of her, because she definitely did not have to do that for me. But she was just one of the greatest teachers I've ever had. And I took that sort of that inspired me, and now in the job that I do now, which is also teaching music, I kind of channel a little bit of her in my teaching, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
I don't even do it consciously. I guess I just do it more on a subconscious level, and then I kind of realize later on that I do things similar to what she used to do in class.
Sure. Sweet.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was a nice, fun little
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Don't even know where we got on that train.
I don't know. It just made me feel a bit nostalgic talking about school, because it, like I said, it feels like a lifetime ago now.
That's it. Yeah, this is my fault, because we were saying about how quick time goes, and I said think about school. Yeah, that's it.
That's the one. And I had a conversation with an old friend the other day. He came over to my place, and every time we hang out together, there's always one part of the time we spent together talking about, back then how it was, and our different lived experiences of what it was like to be in school. Either talking about the teachers or our students who were also there with us. And I'm sure you also have these conversations with people who've also recently reconnected with from school, and it's I guess it's nice, but it also makes you realize that you're getting older, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you kind of do go, just where's all that time gone? Anyway.
And so I guess that will bring us back nicely to how quick this year has gone in some aspects, and maybe not in some other aspects, because sometimes when you're living the thing, an experience can fly by if it's something maybe you're really enjoying, but if it's something you're not enjoying, it seems to stick around for a long time, maybe not in the best way, and you find it all the time. You're having a slightly off day at work and that day just drags, or something like that, whereas you go out with your mates and you think, yeah, well, we're going to have a good 4 or 5 hours together, and it goes,
it's gone. Yeah.
And then you're like, what?
And then you feel that blues afterwards of,
totally,
you just had the best time ever, and then it's just you had that moment, you were all in the same space, and now you're just walking home by yourself on the bus or whatever, and you're just kind of thinking back to all the nice parts while it's still fresh in your mind of the night.
Totally,
because that as time passes, you're going to forget parts of that night, and only the bits that really stuck out will probably stay with you if you're lucky. So yeah,
with stuff like nostalgia, I think it's easy to get a bit stuck always looking back.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just be the person who lives in my stories. I want to still keep doing stuff and have things to look forward to. Otherwise you can tend to ruminate on it, and it's nice to like visit memory lane and all of that, but you don't want to live there, because then you're just like wishing the good old days or whatever was there. But we look back on things with a different view than we have now. Sometimes we paint things as prettier than they were, or sometimes worse than they were, and that's something to look out for. Just as much as it's like, I can say, if I oversimplify something, I had a nice enough childhood, and it was good, and you're like, alright, but that doesn't account for everything. That doesn't account for the losing a family member every other year, basically.
Yeah, sure.
And all of that stuff, and so it's really nuanced, as is anything and everything, and we miss parts out, or we edit things out, either intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah, I was going to say, because over the years, like I said before, details fade away, things become more blurry, and our minds kind of, almost like, I guess, as a defense mechanism or a coping mechanism, will edit parts of your history in your mind to sort of help you feel better.
Sure.
And it can't change all of the facts, because there's some things that are so ingrained into you that no matter how you think about them, that it's just always going to remain the same, and you just have to deal with it and learn how to live with it. But certainly some little things you can forget about, and then you'll talk to somebody who also lived in that same time as you and has a shared experience, and they'll talk about it in maybe a different kind of light, and you go like, oh yeah, I never thought about it that way, or I've totally forgot about this one incident, or this one detail, and that almost changed the situation, which is interesting, because for me, I like to think about the brain and how it helps us, or how it maybe puts a roadblock in the way, where in trying to sort of help us out at the same time, but it's almost just shooting yourself in the foot, in a weird way.
Yeah, a bit. I know what you mean. Yeah. Strange, isn't it? Looking back on things,
it's fascinating.
It is.
And I rarely actually go down memory lane when I'm by myself, just because I find that I do tend to ruminate and overthink things if I do spend too much time going about the past. But it's totally different when you're talking with a friend, either who has that shared experience or who hasn't, and you get to tell them that story for the first time, and it makes that, I think, a positive experience. And if you do go down a bit too much of a rabbit hole and do ruminate a bit too much in that moment, then your friend, if they're a good friend, will be able to be like, okay, hold your horses for a second.
Yeah.
Let's not go down that far, which I think is a nice.
Yeah. Or are you sure you want to go there? If you are, like, let's go together, and it's not going to be maybe as scary.
I think we should talk a bit about Stoicism. I've been doing a bit of research into it. It's something that I feel quite passionate about, and I've actually been listening to a podcast by this woman called Mel Robbins.
Our number one online manipulator. She's brilliant.
Yeah,
and she loves you because she knows you personally.
Yeah, she does. It sounds like she does. No, but regardless of how you feel about her, I think she makes some good points.
Come on then.
In her audiobook, book or audiobook, I've been listening to it on Audible. not sponsored.
Been reading an audiobook. What a weird notion. Anyway, sorry. Ignore all of my book bashing.
It's called...
Tell me about Mel Robbins.
So the book is called The Let Them Theory. And you can take her opinions and her life experience the way you want to. I think what matters the most is that this theory of hers, which is already something that's existed for hundreds if not thousands of years, because Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, blah blah blah, all those people who've been the thought leaders on this. But she kind of makes it into a more digestible product for the average Joe, such as myself. So the Let Them theory is, let's say you got someone who is ignoring you or pissing you off for no reason, or you're sitting next to someone on an airplane and they're coughing their guts out, and you've asked them, can you stop coughing out loud please, and just cover your mouth, and they keep on doing it. So you can either be absolutely furious and let it ruin your day, or you can just go, let them. And that might seem like you're giving up or something, but you're protecting your peace by saying let them. And then the important point that she focuses on in the audiobook is, if you only say let them, then you can say that all day long, and it's kind of going to make you a bit more sort of disassociated from life and people, and sort of like emotionally disassociated. So the next step in the let them theory is then to go, let me. So first you say let them be whoever they want to be and do whatever they want to do. If they don't conform to your ideas and how you think things should be done, just don't let it bother you, let them. And then you can go let me, and then there's several solutions that you can follow. You can either do nothing and just let them do their thing, or you can say let me talk to you, let me whatever solution there is, as long as you're sort of being proactive in a non-emotional way, so you're not letting your emotions get the better of you. And that's kind of the one of the principles of Stoicism. And yeah, like I said, no matter how you view her to based on what you see on social media and all that, I think that's quite a good concept to follow, and it can help you a lot. It can help you a lot in your life and the way that you treat people and the way you feel like you get treated by other people. Regardless of who someone is, I think as long as they're a terrible human being, and you should definitely not listen to their opinions, because it could radicalize you. I think everyone deserves to be listened to and have their opinions heard, and you can take their opinions with a pinch of salt. So yes, you can observe somebody on social media, and you will most likely just get a highlight reel, the best of what they have to offer, and you don't really see a real authentic side to them, because they just most of them, if not all, upload their best side. But when you have a long book like this, I feel like you get a lot more of a side of someone, and especially if you listen to them talk in an audiobook like this, I feel like you get to know someone at least that little bit better. Definitely a lot better than just seeing videos of them on social media, especially short reels, clips, whatever.
But you're still allowed to be curious. I think that's the thing, is be curious about whatever. Because there will at some point be a case where someone has been painted as this, that or the other. And there'll be a point where someone's been painted as this, that or whatever, and until you hear their perspective, you don't know their real side of the story, because maybe it comes down to someone else has had better marketing than you, or better lawyers, something like that. Not necessarily meaning
the media has just one day decided to demonize you.
Right. It's like that sells,
Yeah.
and we're going to go with that thing. Have you had a chance to employ these new learned skills from the book yet?
I'd say that I've already been using them before I even got to listen to the book or got to know about the book. I just didn't call it what I now call, the let them theory. I just kind of lived my life as I did, and I feel like I'm not too bad in terms of controlling my emotions. I feel like that's something that I'm fairly good at, and I very, very rarely get really, really angry to the point of almost having like a tantrum or something.
You want to put it to the test?
Mate, honestly, you can try me. I just don't let it get to me. I think that's something that I've already been working on for a long time, and I just didn't have a name for it. And I don't have to call it the let them theory. That's something that I can leave for Mel and people who want to call it that. You can call it whatever you like. I think as long as you live your life without letting your emotions get the better of you, but also where you don't just turn into like a lifeless robot, where you still do have emotions and you do accept that sometimes we get very emotional because we're human beings. Just finding that balance, I think, is really important. But deciding what can affect you to the point where it does disturb your peace, and what is just not worth your time and energy, I think that's really important. I think that's all I have to say about that.
Sweet. Have you read anything else on Stoicism?
Not really reading. I've been watching YouTube videos on philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, all those kinds of people. I'd have to do a bit more research into them and their thoughts on life. You obviously don't have a podcast or anything to listen to from them because they're not here anymore. So all you do have is probably some rehashed, like 1,000-time rehashed version of somebody who's taken their quotes and somehow using it to promote their own way of life or opinions. So it would be best to find like an original piece of writing by them. And
do you know where to look for that kind of stuff?
Not really, no.
I will tell you where to look.
Good.
Conveniently.
Good.
Have a read of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Basically, he was a leader, as I'm sure you know. And Meditations wasn't really him going, I'm a philosopher, I'm some sort of stoic, whatever. It was just his diary, basically. And it was a journal of like note to self, I did this today, maybe I could handle it like that next time. That was oversimplifying it massively, but sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just things like that, just notes to self of where I can improve on whatever it be. It was never really like made to be a whole book, but they basically took his diary and translated it, and now you can like read it as a book. And I have it here, in fact.
Oh yeah.
Really, really insightful stuff in there as well. If you like these kind of Stoic practices, I always really was drawn to Epictetus, who essentially, And see, this is the other thing, because it was so long ago, and because it is just ideas. I don't know where the line gets drawn for like giving someone credit for whatever, because I'm sure several people at similar points or different points in time would have come up with this thing for themselves, but maybe it's already existed in a different form or whatever. But Epictetus is credited with essentially drawing the line between what is in and out of our control.
Yep.
And essentially said that what is within our control is our thoughts and our actions.
Yep.
And that's all we're responsible for. Anything that falls outside of that, gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. And that includes other people's actions, what people think of you, what way the fucking earth spins, all of it.
The more we try to control other people's actions or things that are generally not in our control, the more miserable we're going to feel, because we're trying to live in a different reality, fantasy land. And there's sort of 2 points, and this is sort of different reality land, and this is actual reality land, and you're living so far away that you're stressing yourself out, you're giving yourself anxiety, depression, whatever, because you wishing that life was different. And if you actually just disregarded that, saying, I just can't control this, I can't make this, I can't force this to be the actual reality, and you just live in the reality and take control of what you can control, then a lot of your problems just won't exist. But obviously that's very, very simplified, and it's extremely hard to live in that reality.
Because then when you take accountability at that level, things like the situation whoever the person might be is in, maybe things aren't the way I want them to be, and that's something external's fault. It's the government, it's the fucking whatever, doesn't matter. It's just
point
like
fingers all you like.
You can do what you like, but when you really go inward, game changer, very scary game changer. Let me just finish that thought on Epictetus. But he basically said that anything within your control is thoughts and actions. Outside of that, it's nothing to do with you. And in fact, when it comes to like, what if such and such thinks XYZ about me, it's like, you keep your nose out, pretty much.
This is where you say, let them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, and all I can do is control, to an extent, my thoughts and actions. And it's also a big difference between thought and action. Because if someone does piss you off, you can think, I'm going to throttle them in a minute, but you don't. Because there is difference between thought and action, luckily, and intent and all of that. So, but like you said, living in different realities, that's a lot of the problem. And external validation is a problem for everybody, really.
Huge. We have so much fear about how we feel like people judge us or think about us, and the nice thing is that people will judge you regardless, so why bother worrying about it?
Right.
People will have negative opinions of you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to change that. Even people that love you will have negative opinions about you, and there's nothing you can do about that. And it doesn't mean that they don't love you. And this is me just regurgitating stuff that I've heard from either the audiobook or videos I've watched or whatever. There's nothing you can do about it, so just accept that that's the case, that you will be judged, that people will have negative opinions about you, and you shouldn't let that affect you, and you can still live your life and do whatever you want and live the life you want to live, because it's so short. You might as well just do it.
Another point is you can let it affect you, and sometimes you feel like you don't have control, But a lot of things isn't the situation, it's how you handle the situation or approach it or any of that. When we have like these fantasy kind of realities we live in, because I think what you believe is what you can become or what you would see, which is like your mindset is really the most valuable thing you have, as well as your physical health. And likewise, your thoughts can make you sick. If you ruminate on things too much, you kind of go down that rabbit hole, and then you can get to a point where you're like, well, maybe this is what I deserve, is to feel this way, because what have I done that's so good anyway? Which can be, really harmful and addictive as well, because then now you've justified to yourself why, things should be the way they are, but they don't have to be. And just knowing that you've got a choice, that I can act differently. And another thing as well, I just thought of, is the way we act around different people. I try, and sometimes it takes a bit of conscious effort, to always be the core of myself regardless of situation. Obviously read the room, but some people I observe that they definitely change depending on who they're with, and maybe, and you invariably will change depending on your environment, because we adapt to survive to a degree. But when you can see in a negative way that someone is conforming to be accepted, that's a bit of an issue, and then you try fitting in everybody else's box, and that thing that made you stand out, you don't go for, even though that actually does make you more unique. And to have something like these fantasy lands that we can live in, we see it all the time. If it's social media or whatever, we portray this version of us, and we seek external validation, and I'm worth so many likes that I get. To detach yourself from the outcome of that is, I think, probably what could define authenticity or not, because you're doing something for the love of it, for maybe the simplicity of it, not for.
I think also that regardless of whether you get those likes or not, you will still somehow seek validation, whether you like it or not. So I think it's better to place your attention into whether what you posted, if we're talking about posting on social media, actually resonated with somebody on a deeper level. So maybe you posted, as a musician, maybe you posted a cover of a song, or you wrote an original piece of music, and somebody wrote a comment saying, they really connected with it and helped them through a difficult period of time or something. Those are the kind of metrics which I think are far more important than
quality, not quantity.
Then I got 100 likes or 1,000 likes or 1 million likes or whatever. It doesn't matter, because none of that will ever compare to being able to affect somebody else's life in a positive way, which I think is the sort of the base level of being a human being. I think that's, at least for me personally, that's kind of my mission in life, is to have a positive effect on other people, on other human beings, as much as is possible, without hindering my own happiness.
And whatever happens, you have like a new normal kind of baseline, which is why when we get the likes, for example, you're like, that's great, and now that's the kind of baseline. If we don't smash that, then we're not doing good. Same as you want this new gadget or whatever, and you get it and you really love it for 5 minutes, and then you're like, okay, what's next? And so you always want what you can't have, and then now I think everything's coming back on itself in that it's more cool for someone to be a reader, to do van life and be disconnected from social media, because that stands out now, because that's rare, you know. And it's funny, stuff like social media really isn't social, because when we were growing up and the internet was just, you know, becoming a thing and Wi-Fi became a thing, you would see what your friends were doing, and it was about sharing. But now it's platforms for who's got the most amount to do advertising with.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's a big advertising platform, and
you see that because everyone's trying to go viral somehow. Everyone's always promoting the hustle, and none of Instagram or any social media has really become about just living your life, being present in the moment. And Instagram used to be like that, you know. Instagram used to be about sharing a picture of something that you're doing in the moment. It wasn't about videos, short form videos that you just mindlessly consume.
Yeah, not about content and hustle culture, which I think is actually quite toxic. You know, sleep when you're dead. What are you talking about? You will be dead sooner if you do that.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who, I can't remember his name, but I think he worked at Facebook or, you know, Instagram, whatever it was. But he, essentially, he's the one that invented the endless scroll, because before then, you would scroll to the bottom of a feed. I don't know if you even remember this, but you'd say you're all caught up or something like that.
Yeah.
You'd be like, right, I've seen everything that my mates are doing. Close the thing down. But now, endless.
Well, now they've developed tactics and worked with psychologists and all sorts to keep you on the page for as long as possible. It's like being in a casino, you know, pumping the air full of oxygen.
It's
and
exactly
giving
that.
you things, food or whatever, to keep sustaining you, so you stay in there as long as possible.
Sure. And but that guy who created the endless scroll, he's like, I regret that. He says, like, I really, really regret that. I wish I could take it back, because I didn't. He was like, I was doing good. I thought it was a good thing for my job. You know, I come up with this thing. But now I see how negatively it's affecting people.
Well, it's a brilliant idea, regardless of whether you you think about it. But in the long term, it's
innovated.
harmful.
Yeah, innovation wise, 100%. But it's the same. If you're going like on a, if we're taking it like to you're on a self-pitying kind of route, rabbit hole, whatever, there's an endless pit for you to lose yourself in.
Yeah.
You know, or at very least distract yourself with. We live distracted lives, and people don't have time to go out in nature. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they do. That's the thing.
Yeah, they do. Of course you do.
We've all got the same 24 hours.
And exactly.
I know that gets used by hustle culture, saying, you know, use those 24 hours to make as much money as possible, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, but make money while you sleep.
On the other hand, we've all got the same 24 hours to enjoy life and to positively affect other human beings in whatever capacity you can.
Sure. It's difficult because obviously there are... this is opening a massive can of worms. There's always a cost to something. That's what I was going to say earlier, actually. There's always a cost. Even with love. You know, if it's... I love the taste of that chocolate bar. But it's not going to make you go towards your health or fitness goals or your overall, you know, bodily function. Like, it doesn't actually benefit you. But you love the taste of it. And out of love, as one hand reaches up, the other hand reaches down. And so there is a balance even there. Might not be a positive balance, but things level out. And so there's always an alternative or a cost. It's easy to do the external thing again and seek either external validation or blame or something, so we don't have to take responsibility. And something that's been on my mind, like this week especially, has been like a lot of people have been saying, no one should be a billionaire, no one should have that much money.
Mm-hmm.
But we keep funding them because we keep buying their stuff and we keep feeding their algorithm, and we keep giving over data and time, years of it. But really, it's us. We don't take control. Because you'd be like, okay, well then maybe they wouldn't have a billion or however many billion if you didn't keep buying all their shit.
Yeah. One of the most powerful things we have is our wallet and what we do with it. And if you say, oh well, if one person or one small group of people change and don't pay for that anymore, what difference is it going to make? But it's when it starts to sort of compound and more people realize, maybe I shouldn't be paying for this product anymore, then that company loses out big time, and they understand that to survive, they're going to have to make a better product,
right,
or
market harder or
whatever, change somehow.
And I'll bring it back to how you started off this Stoicism talk. It's like, just because something exists doesn't mean you need it in your life. And so, say Instagram comes up with the next best thing since sliced bread. Let them.
Hard to top.
Let them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I need to have any part in that.
But this is then, if we're going back to the let them theory, this is when you say, now let me not participate.
Yeah.
Not
let me let it go.
Yeah.
And because you said, yes, people, the power is our wallet, but something much more sinister has happened in that we are giving up our most valuable resource, which is our time. And when you start giving up your time, then you start giving up your health, and then everything just follows all of that. And when it gets to, if we're talking like on a chemical level, things like dopamine, serotonin, all of these things that make up our chemical balance, we need to reach so much deeper to be satiated by that same kind of source, which is the same way that you have one piece of chocolate, you want the rest of the bar because it's got that addictive quality to it. Not that it's good for you. It's just, and then it becomes what we do, and because we can be so connected, there is and it's not that we just have a tendency to do this thing. It's like a tendency is a habit in disguise. It's like, well, if you are what you repeatedly do, then and that's really humbling and difficult to look at, because then you're like, oh shit, I have wasted a lot of my own resources for what? For nothing. And it leaves you feeling kind of empty. But we do it all the time. And it's not just, I'm not saying inherently like the internet or social media or whatever is necessarily bad, but I'm saying there was that potential in us as humans to keep going for the next thing, and that's kind of, it's been hacked in a way. And you see it all over, say, YouTube, for example, hack your brain into whatever, this, that, the other. And even to the point where it's like, I hacked my brain into being more productive. I gamified this, that, and the other. And now you track the stuff in your life on an app versus just doing it. I was writing last night. I sent you a voice message last night, didn't I?
Yep.
And I was trying to figure out what to do with my work, for example. I wanted to write something and just get an answer about, what should I do with this thing? And I just gravitated towards Google Gemini to ask, what do I do? But I'm like, I'm outsourcing the very decision that I already want to make for myself, but I'm already defaulting to doing that because it's simple, quick and easy.
Is it maybe a form of validation as well that you're trying to get from the AI?
Not a form of possibly. Yeah, it could be something along the lines of like a confirmation bias.
Yeah,
in that
you just want to know that what you're doing is the right thing.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah.
And so, but outsourcing even that, it seems harmless and very convenient, which it is. But long term, your cognitive function is going to be all the way down there. If you're in like a bit of a pickle and the internet goes down or whatever, it's like, what are you going to do? You don't have your own back. And so I do want to have my own back, and I want to have some sort of ownership over my thoughts.
Yeah.
And if we're taking it back to the Stoicism bit, having control of your thoughts and actions, which are the only two things you can control, trying to outsource that as well doesn't fly with me.
No. I think this is a good segue to the Renaissance man. I've talked with you briefly about this as well. But it's okay, so a bit of a preface. So it's obviously very different times. So modern times are different to the Renaissance times. But the type of man that existed back then, such as Leonardo da Vinci, people who were they were geniuses. They had brilliant minds, and they were curious, and they explored everything, and they tried to learn as much as possible, whether maths, geography, inventing, flying machines or
whatever. Yeah, awesome.
And we kind of lost that nowadays. And yes, you do see loads of videos of, like you said, like hacking your brain and how to become the most productive version of yourself and blah 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 blah. But I think out of all the videos that I've seen or podcasts I've listened to or people I've talked to, none of them have really touched upon the point of just being curious and doing something for the love of being curious. And that's something I definitely want to get a bit more involved in, is just being curious about things. And like I was thinking back to the day to when I was doing my dissertation for university. I haven't written that many words since then, basically. I've not done any deep research like I did back then. I've not talked to as many people as I did when I needed to find proof, evidence, data for my dissertation. And yes, it was extremely challenging, and I struggled a lot with writing and doing research and just compartmentalizing my brain into being able to do different tasks at the same time and getting something done. But in hindsight, I think I really enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed finding out facts about different drummers, because my dissertation was on whether a drummer was more likely to be successful if they were taught or self-taught. And by the way, the outcome was it didn't make a difference. So that was a cool little outcome. But one of my favorite parts of that entire dissertation is I did a survey in a Facebook group where there's loads of drummers on there, like thousands of drummers, and I got a huge number of people to take part in that survey. So that sort of first-hand evidence that I got for my dissertation it felt groundbreaking, and I haven't really done anything like that since then. So if I can get anywhere close in terms of just doing research and finding out things about life that I'm currently interested in, I think that's maybe a good goal to set for myself, and in trying to become 1% more like the Renaissance man, if you will, which is something I think that can give you a lot of joy, because
Totally.
you've done that hard work, you've done the research, you've tried to invent something new or be creative in some sort of fashion, and I think that's something that can bring you a lot of joy.
I'd add to that and say, obviously it's good to be curious. How do you be curious though, when we generally lead distracted lives? When is someone bored? I mean truly bored. To the point where you are just you and your thoughts. There is no, oh, it'd be scary if I don't have my phone, and what if I have to live with my own thoughts? No. You are bored. There is nothing to do. And, you know, it takes me, at least, back to childhood, as in thinking-wise, because we didn't have anything really technology-wise as kids. And I know it wasn't even that long ago in the scheme of things, especially not in, like, electronic tech being invented and created, but we still had maybe 5 channels on the TV when I was at home, which is only 2 channels different from when my parents were growing up in the 70s. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, they didn't have a phone either, but I did have a phone, but when I went like on a school trip when I was like 11 or 12 or something, and even then it still only had like Snake on it. There's only so many games of Snake you can play. So yeah, just like that. When you're a kid, this is why I love kids as well, and why it's so important to not just put an iPad in front of them at dinner or whatever, because you outsource, you give an external source of validation to the kid, which is again why they likely won't listen to the parent or connect with people. But when you're a kid, you are curious, because you don't know any better, and you have this sense of play. And maybe not you and I so much, but I'd say a majority of people, more so people that maybe aren't into like a creative field, you lose that sense of play because I don't know, maybe we're told to grow up or put childish things aside, but I really don't think that's healthy, because when you think about it and you look at like kids, for example, we learn to sing before we can speak and paint before we can write. And it's like these raw, messy forms of curiosity that we just do, kids want to jump in puddles and do all of that and make a mess, and but how often do we really want to get stuck into something and be curious? Because our brains are so creative, but slowly the life gets sucked out of you in a way. Do you know what I mean?
I think relating this back to the Renaissance man again is, if you think about Da Vinci or Van Gogh, people like that, they were not sane human beings. Or when we think about them now, you think they were probably absolutely bonkers. Mozart, insane, absolutely insane. And maybe just the thought of being perceived as crazy or insane for having ideas and being curious is something that holds us back as well, because going back against the Stoicism, we care so much about what other people think about us that it gets to the point where we stop being creative and we stop doing things that we love and being curious because of how we feel like other people will perceive us.
And we fit in someone else's box and definition and all of that. And doesn't that feel so ingrained in us as a people, like collectively now?
Don't
you think maybe like back in Da Vinci's time, there were a few other completely mad people as well.
Oh, I think many more than nowadays. Probably.
I don't know, man. There'll be lots of eccentric people these days as well, you know. But there would have been less recorded things back in the day, and now I think everything is so readily available, like at the drop of a hat. If you think about, you know, the atrocities of World War II, for example, we all learn about that at school. But now, for example, like a year or two ago, you can watch the fucking war happen in Ukraine. You can see it from a supercomputer in your pocket, otherwise known as your phone. What? You know?
Yeah.
And to be exposed to all of that is mad. And one slight rag on things like the media as a whole is what happens versus what's reported happening. And I was doing some research recently on things like news reports and how much, and this is just in the US, how much homicides are reported. So as in like someone kills someone else, right? Regardless of any other factor, just how much it happens. So it turns out that homicides across the majority of US news stations is reported on TV between 49 and 52%. That's what takes up that screen time.
Wow.
And that is what is reported as the deaths, you know, per year. Whereas in reality, when you look at the actual stats of deaths, homicide itself takes less than 1% of all the deaths across the globe. Whereas things like heart disease or age, even
cancer,
and cancer, they're like 20%, 30% of what's actually happening, but not reported. And so this has just become so alarm bell raising, because you know what we see has in turn informed how we see, and to have
our
those
views of the world,
it's all
get
skewed.
Molded.
It's like some really, really dangerous beer goggles.
Yeah.
And this is why,
not the fun kind.
Right. And this is like, if you when you consume something like the news, people are fucking scared. Everyone's scared. Everyone has their opinions, probably falsely informed, about what the world is like, and against different cultures. And luckily for you and I, we have friends of all cultures all across the world because of where we've studied and that. And I really like that we have all that. And it would be such a shame to not be friends with some people because of
hugely.
What we've been told to believe. And so I will never watch the news because I don't trust it. And I know how things are skewed to go a certain way, or there's always an ulterior motive, always, several, and it might be.
Unfortunately, there's always going to be bad things happening.
Right.
That's just the world we live in, and you can call me ignorant or whatever if I don't want to tune into that and let it affect my mental health, because that's what it does ultimately. And yes, there are ways I can help, and I have looked into ways of helping, like what's happening in Gaza and places like that. But at the end of the day, I think you just need to focus on yourself and
right.
And taking control of the things you can control, instead of again worrying about wars happening on the other side of the world that you don't have a lot of influence over.
Sure.
Other than helping with money or whatever else you can help with.
And mate, wouldn't it be good if we all just looked after ourselves? And maybe a couple of people around us.
Yeah.
I think that's oversimplified, of course, but probably what would really help.
It's like in an airplane, the best way to help somebody else when there's cabin pressure failure is to put your own mask on first, and then you can help somebody else put their mask on. And it's the same in life. If you're so depleted mentally and physically, then you just can't help somebody else because you're literally not able to.
Right. And because if someone has, I don't know, say you want to be really fit, but someone who's really unfit is giving you advice, are you going to take that information as gospel? No. It's like, what? See, but it seems a lot of people are ready and willing to give advice that they're not even taking themselves. It's like, you've got to take your own medicine. You've got to. But it's easy to, regurgitate things and not question things, innit? Because, that takes effort. And of course, it takes a lot of effort. If you really want to know,
do your research, have a proper think about it, get bored, and just sit with your thoughts. Get bored. And how do you get bored? Just turn it all off. Just turn it off. If you have a phone, put it in a different room, and just don't look at it, don't think about it. Go outside, go for a walk, go ride your bike, go on a roller skating journey like you did when you were a kid. Who knows?
Skim your knees, all of that. Anyway, so we talked about a lot of really interesting topics. I would like to know, how's things going with you? How's work going? What are you looking forward to doing for the rest of this year?
I'm looking forward to taking a break and going on holiday.
Sweet.
No. Well, yes, but also I'm looking forward to... So concert season is coming up at work. So the first concert will be on the 1st of December, which is very, very soon, with one of my schools. And it's going to be 2 weeks. I'm going to have 8 concerts. So it's going to be jam-packed. And I'm going to meet loads of parents who I've only previously had email interactions with. So it's going to be stressful, but hopefully nice. And there's obviously going to be loads of expectations from the parents for their kids to perform really well, and we'll see how that goes. I do feel like I've prepared them really well, and we still have some time to go over the songs. Some kids will need more help from myself and one of my colleagues who will be also there at the concert, fortunately. Or concerts, plural. And yeah, I mean, I've got good news from work in general. Things are going really well. In fact, they're going so well that we've got this replenishing scheme at work where you get a bonus for getting the most amount of new students signing up to the company. And out of all the company, I've had the most students sign up organically. So I started off with 43 students, and now I'm at 144.
Damn. What? Wait. Sorry, say it again. You've gained 101 students.
Yes. And 16 of those were acquired by the sales team. But the rest were all because of my teaching and me sort of...
And people referring and that sort of...
Yeah, referring and kids finding out from other students and all that.
And, mate, how long have you been working there?
I've been working for 5 months, I think.
101 people in 5 months.
Yeah.
Wow. 20 people a month-ish.
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn, that's impressive. Good for you, man.
Yeah,
amazing.
No, I think, and I've been recognised for that as well, which is really nice. I got a lovely call from my manager, just congratulating me and saying I'll be getting a bit of a bonus for that. So that's going to be really nice. That's Christmas presents sorted, basically.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm in a good place with work, and I'm looking forward to the concerts, like I said, and then nice bit of a holiday period, and then we start again in the new year, and that'll be nice because we get to choose some new songs to learn. And I think the nicest thing I've observed so far is how fast the kids are progressing. So they're having to be reminded less and less of how to find their notes, like on the guitars or on the pianos. They just kind of know where each note is now, at least the best sort of the bunch. And their sense of rhythm is improving, and they're just starting to sound like a band.
Like cohesive,
Yeah, and so I think when we learn the new songs, they're going to learn them so much quicker than with these first set of songs, that we might even be able to do like 2 songs at the next concert instead of just 1. So
awesome.
That's what I'm looking forward to, is just seeing that progression in the students. It's quite wholesome, and it just it makes everything worth it. So yeah,
totally.
It's kind of where I am at.
And they're curious.
They're curious. They are. They love it. Those that have learned the most, that have progressed the most, are the ones that are the most curious, that ask the most questions, and that annoy me the most. In a good way, in the best way possible, because
Sweet,
they
man.
ask about a million questions, and
that's good.
I'm happy to answer them. I'd never turn them down, because that's how I got treated in the past by my teachers. They just said, stop asking me questions, and I kind of then did stop asking questions, and I'm only learning now again to ask more questions.
Because that stop asking questions is stop being so curious.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
and you
stop
don't want to
me and being curious.
Yeah, you don't want to discourage that, do you? Which I think is really good of you.
Yeah. What about yourself?
What's the question?
Just, I think for you, the way I'd frame the question is just where you are at in life at the moment, and where do you see yourself sort of progressing in the next month?
Okay, so at the moment, if I'm being really honest and vulnerable, I'm just coming out of a bit of an anhedonic period, and that kind of means that you don't really feel too much, that you feel a bit numb. But there'd been a lot that has happened the last couple of months, which I had to be very hyper focused and present, and used a lot of brain power, because there were some emergencies that needed dealing with, and I was on high alert for such a time that it completely depleted me, because I was feeling so much, everything all at once, that my brain then went and did the opposite, and I was just disconnected, dissociated even, and so you kind of just have to ride that out, because it's a strange old feeling, or lack of feeling. But these last few days, I've started picking up some creative projects again, and tried to reconnect with certain bits and bobs, and I feel at a bit of a turning point, I would say.
Oh yeah?
Because I'm taking a more of a meta view of my future, rather than what do I want just now. And so, there's a lot of when you've studied for a long time for music and that sort of stuff, and when people say, what do you do? I want to be able to say I'm a musician. In theory I am. In practice I'm really not too much. It's very difficult, because this is kind of what I do and I'm known for doing, but I'm not really succeeding at any of that. But I think it's because of a bit of the comparison by what things do or don't happen. I am distracted. I am a social media kid. I'm on my depression rectangle.
Square. Yeah.
Yeah, depression rectangle square, whatever you want to call it. And so a lot of my time goes into that. And so just thinking forward of, what do I want to do? Would I be okay with having this as something I enjoy more rather than something I'm trying to make a living from?
Yeah.
Because when you put your passion into something that you want to turn it into a job, you can take something that brought you joy into something that you depend on to eat and keep a roof over your head.
That can take the passion out of it.
Yeah, it can, because but the other thing is the words surrounding letting those kind of things go to a degree. Because if someone were to say to me, oh, it's just a hobby, that feels quite offensive to me, because it's like, well, then you're not serious. A hobby is just like
something you do on the side.
It's just
something you visit sort of spontaneously. And
it's
you
like
don't really do every day.
But it also feels like you're just some amateur that hasn't actually got any interest in. Well, it's just like whatever.
It just takes all that sort of burning passion away that
you
had since you were a little kid,
and
that's the only thing you've ever wanted to do.
Right?
It takes that away, and
it makes it maybe feel like I'm not as curious about it as I would like to be. And that's really harmful. Could be really harmful. I'm trying to,
if you let it affect you.
If you let it, but I'm trying to not, from my own perspective, try and not take it personally. In that, maybe this could be something I do enjoy. And I think when you do just enjoy something, then you do create art. You do make stuff. So it's, and that would be the part of the escape, or the purpose maybe channeled into something rather than the means to an end. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I think I would like to get back into maybe an analog way of living to a degree.
Okay.
Pick up a book.
Do you know what you need to do to get to that sort of place?
I'm figuring it out. I've definitely been someone that's embraced something, if you want to call it, a minimalism. Not having too much physical, mental, whatever else stuff and clutter.
Yeah.
I like to have a declutter. You could call it enoughism, I suppose. Because when do you have enough? Because like I said before, there's always the next thing and the next thing. And you have this never-ending to-do list of things to achieve. And
there was something I saw, so sorry to interrupt, is that when we die, what do we actually take with us? Nothing.
You don't.
Not even the clothes on our body.
Right.
Really.
You're as naked as you were coming into the world.
Exactly. So none of that stuff really matters. But what matters is, the life that you live, the actions you performed every day.
Yeah.
And you take that with you, and that's what people remember about you. They don't necessarily remember, you had that nice watch or car or whatever. Like, yeah, maybe, but that's, when you're gone, what is your legacy?
Yes. All we are is stories.
Yeah.
That is it. Which is why I love telling stories and capturing stories. In an honest...
You're very good at doing that.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. But, in an honest way, in a... maybe in a way to preserve life is to have stories, and that's all anything really is in our human experience, I would say. Yeah. Because look at the people we look up to, the Renaissance men.
Yeah.
Or man, is that the book? Is it the man or
it's not a book or anything, it's just
an idea. I see.
It's a form of
but,
person.
It's the Stoic ideas, stories, whatever it be, or whatever anybody, subscribes to. It could be maybe a religious text or
because how old is Marcus Aurelius? Really old, incredibly old.
Fuck, I don't even know.
Nor do I, but the only reason we know him is because of his philosophies and his ideas that have been passed down for generations.
Sure.
I don't know what clothes he wore or what kind of riches he had, because I've not done any research into him, and I don't even know if that information is available to know about.
It is because you can have a look at like the Roman Empire and stuff at the time and whatever.
Sure, but like on a personal level, you wouldn't
exactly
really know his personal belongings.
But
he really know that.
But this is what I'm saying, like about a more analog life. It feels like a more in touch life. And like I said before, there's a cost to everything. You can have a Kindle e-reader book thing. It's fucking great. 10,000 books, 100,000 books, doesn't matter. More than you could ever consume. But I would never feel connected to that. There is no page to turn. In a physical book, there is, there's life from a tree that has been sculpted and made into essentially artwork of stories. You can smell the thing. Kindle doesn't smell like an adventure.
It almost feels more like someone's taken their brain and just put it into those pages, into those physical pages. Yeah,
it does. But you see it all over the place. We replace connection, and I don't just mean physical connection between people and things, but also cognitive connection in your brain and how you're like hardwired and that sort of stuff. It's great that we can type, but everyone's handwriting has gone to absolute shit. I don't even know if they teach handwriting at school anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do, but I don't think it's as savage as it was for me.
As savage? You had a savage handwriting experience?
Yeah, I did actually, because we had to write essays and essays, so many, like thousands of words, just all handwritten, to the point where you just get cramps in your hand.
But isn't it funny, the cost of convenience is that, we lose a cognitive real skill. You ask me going forward, for the next month, I think I would probably just keep trying to figure out what I want to, make the direction for the future, and how much I'm going to let, I guess, external involvement be a part of that. Just keep on cracking on. I feel a bit better than I have the last month in these last couple of days, which is good. 1% better. That's kind of the goal. And you?
I'd say, apart from doing well at work and having a successful concert season, I think I need to keep being conscious of my phone usage. So I've actually stopped using Instagram for personal consumption, and it's going quite well. I've not been going on Instagram Reels or anything like that. I've uninstalled TikTok, and I feel like it's helping me. I'd like to start reading a new book again, keep listening to the podcasts I've been listening to. I have started properly tracking my weight again and my calories again, and I'm actually going to do some meal prepping today.
Good lad.
I need to get to the bottom of my shoulder pain. I'm going to keep checking in with my physio and just seeing how my shoulder progresses so that I can start going to the gym properly again, and doing all the exercises I want to be doing so I can gain some more muscle and feeling like I'm progressing there. But yeah, I feel like I'm taking the right steps to sort of protect my mental peace and to keep working on my body.
Your body is a temple.
That's the one, yeah.
Mine's the Temple of Doom. Oh dear. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in for the 11th month of the ACB sessions. We will be back for the 12th and final month in December next month, which is kind of crazy. And for now, please stay curious. And thank you, Alex, for talking, man. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. And we'll see you in the next episode.